Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. What if I told you the only thing standing between you and your next big opportunity is your voice? This isn't just another program. Empower Your Message is your ticket to becoming the podcast guest everyone wants. You'll learn how to craft a pitch that gets a hell yes, show up with unshakable confidence, and drop truth bombs that leave hosts and audiences wanting more. No more playing small. No more waiting for permission. It's your time to be heard. Loud, clear, and unforgettable. Visit the link in the show notes to sign up, and let's make your voice impossible to ignore. The mic is waiting. Are you ready? Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Jackie Roby. She is a relationship mindset coach who empowers women of color to break free from hustle culture, reclaim their time freedom, and write their next chapter as the main character of their stories. She's also the founder of the She Suite Connector. Welcome, Jackie. How are you?
I'm extraordinary and so grateful to be in this space with you, my friend.
I am honored and so excited to have you here, Jackie. I cannot wait to jump in and start sharing about all the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, a bit about your story, your journey, all the things, Jackie. So with that being said, let us jump right in. That is, I have to say, quite the mission you have on your hands there. And I love it. I think it's beautiful and it's powerful. So I'm curious, was there a catalyst moment for you? And what was it that set you on this path, leading you to do this work and helping all of these women out there who are dealing with and going through these types of struggles?
It's interesting because I feel like the deeper we go into our healing journey, the more often we have catalyst moments. So it's like the progression of life and really noticing these things. I think one of the aspects of what I do that came to light was a few years ago when I recognized I was shrinking myself in my own home. And that was surprising to me because I am madly in love with my husband. We have an incredibly healthy relationship, something that we work on, something that I pride myself on. But yet, I was playing it small here. I had silenced myself, and what was once a safe space became unsafe. And it was, sure, influenced. However, it was really what was happening within me. And recognizing that can happen in a healthy space was monumental. So imagine what happens in all the unhealthy spaces.
Yeah, but I love that you had the self-awareness to pick up on and realize that, wait a minute, this isn't who I should be. I'm playing it small. I need to step back into the true Jackie. So what do you think was the cause for that then? If it's a safe environment and a very healthy relationship, what was it then, do you think?
Honestly, it was starting my own business.
Wow.
And I think it is something that has you face yourself every day in new and different ways.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I had to rely on my husband financially.
There you go. That's it right there.
Yeah. I had been financially independent since I was 18. So this was hard.
There's the root of it. Asking for help, right? And this is something that women particularly are conditioned and brought up and taught. No, you don't ask for help. You deal with it yourself. You can figure it out. You don't need help. Asking for help is a sign of weakness and all of these other bullshit conditionings. So, I don't know. I've always said that asking for help is exactly the opposite of what we've been taught and conditioned. It's a sign of strength when you're able to do that, because think about it. It takes a lot of courage and inner strength to step up and admit, wait a minute, I can't do this by myself. I need help. And let's be honest, we are not meant to do things alone in this life. No matter what it is, entrepreneurship, relationships, all of it, we are communal beings. We need other people to support and to lift and to cheerlead and all of these things. So asking for help is one small little thing, but it's hard to break out of that bullshit conditioning that we've been taught.
I feel like you're in my head right now. Yes.
That's because I am. But that's hard. I can imagine. Then, yes, then it all makes sense. Yes, you were playing small. Absolutely. Of course, because it's a scary entrepreneurship, as you alluded to, it tests us in so many fucking ways. It makes us use muscles we never even knew we had. It is tough. And I think that this is another thing I think about quite a bit, and I think that we should be talking about more because social media glamorizes, I think, entrepreneurship. And it is amazing. It is beautiful. It is powerful, all of the things. But people are not talking about the other side of it, the struggles, how lonely solopreneurship can be. We need to have conversations around that kind of stuff because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are my thoughts. I think that we as entrepreneurs who have been in the game for a little bit, I've been in it for, it's 8 years this year, but I think it's almost like a duty or responsibility that we have to help those who are just coming into it, to share our wisdom and our knowledge that, you know what, it's not going to be all puppy dogs, rainbows, and ice cream. That's not, if that's what you're thinking, forget it. Don't even bother. But it does have its beautiful moments. It does have its rewards. It does have time freedom and all of the different things. But you're going to fucking struggle. There are going to be some very hard moments that will test you like you've never been tested before.
I absolutely agree. I think what would be interesting is to normalize the conversation about what happens to you.
Yeah.
About what it
absolutely.
feels like. The good times.
How alone it feels sometimes.
Yeah, it can feel incredibly lonely. And I think what was fascinating for me is I pride myself on being able to ask for help. I fell into a depression 18 years ago, and it taught me how to ask for help and how important that was. So great. But when it came to the financial aspect of things, no, that's the one area I'm not supposed to ask for anything.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
There's another conversation that needs to be normalized and tied in with the whole entrepreneurship piece. Yeah. I think those two things we need to normalize that conversation, start having more conversations around it, because when we talk about it more, it normalizes it, it brings it to the forefront, and it makes it okay to talk about it. Because again, there's another taboo part in there is talking about money. People don't like talk about money and all of these things. And no, we should be talking about it. Absolutely. Because again, I think it's a responsibility that we have to help others coming into this new world.
Exactly. And to continue to lift each other up.
Yep, for sure. 100%. That's what it's all about. That's why we're all here, is to support each other and lift each other up and extend the hand down the ladder as we've got our hand up the ladder, because undoubtedly there's someone up above us and they will be willing to help too. So it's our duty to pay it forward and help those who are just coming up or who are a couple steps behind or a couple of rungs behind us on the ladder. Send the elevator back down. Always. Yes. Always.
Yes.
So what did liberation from this bullshit hustle, I want to talk about the hustle culture thing, because this is another thing that we need to normalize the conversation around. I think it's such an important topic. What did liberation from this bullshit hustle culture mindset and conditioning look like for you personally? And why is this mission you're on so personally important to you? So
it started before my business. It actually started with my depression. That's why it was important, because I was running from my feelings. I spent years doing that, keeping myself busy, overworking, over-socializing. Socializing became a full-time job. I was nonstop until I couldn't anymore. Everything stopped. The world stopped for me, and I couldn't function. People saw me functioning on the outside, but on the inside, it was not working. So I learned that I had to slow down. and new ways of setting boundaries around my time, around creating things that were important to me. So when I was in sales, my career prior to being a relationship mindset coach, I would have times where I was working 12-hour days or longer. And oftentimes that happened with trips and travel. We were expected to go out and entertain clients, and that evening could go until midnight, 2 a.m., and then you've got to be up the next morning bright and shiny and happy and going again. So I started to craft my days differently. I started to say no to things. And come 9 o'clock, if I was at a dinner, my line was, "This has been great. Thank you for making time."
See ya, I'm done.
And that was it. And I set firm boundaries. And what I realized was I was making the same amount of my goals with those boundaries in place than before when I had none, when I was hustling with everyone else. So it can be done differently. And what I notice today, what I teach my clients, is how to operate within your energy, how to leave space for mindfulness, how to shift that idea that you have to just keep going. Because when you do, you're actually not functioning as well.
Nope.
The reason it's taking you twice as long is because you haven't rested. And in order to even stay fresh on this, it's like my mind plays tricks on me. I burned out a couple of weeks ago because I was doing the same old thing. And it took me a minute with my coach to go, wait a minute, I've been working 60-hour weeks. How did that happen? You see, it just keeps creeping up.
I think it's hard to, and I was talking about this a little while ago with someone, it's hard to draw that line in the sand for entrepreneurs when we are living in our purpose, when we're doing something we absolutely love, because one, the time fucking flies by when you're in it, when you're in that zone and you're doing something you absolutely love. You don't even realize how fast the time has gone. And two, you're doing what you love, so it doesn't feel like work. So you still have to set those boundaries for yourself in order to be able to help your clients and help fulfill their needs, help be 100% on for them. It's hard. It's a fine line. It's a tightrope to walk for sure.
It requires it requires you to continually check in with yourself. That's the part of mindful awareness of your feelings, but to check in and say, am I coming from a space of creativity and inspiration or pressure?
Yeah, very true. Very true. So why do you think then that this hustle culture has become such a badge of honor for people, not only in general, but especially for women of color and women in general too? And what is it really costing us?
Let me start with what it's costing us. It's costing us our dreams, the ability to dream. It's costing us our relationships, all of them, anything that matters to us. It's costing us the chance to be present and really enjoy life. Women of color, we had our dreams stolen from us long ago. And while our ancestors have been creating change, we've also continued to carry trauma. And one of the things that I know I experienced, and I often hear as a story, is we are taught work hard, get ahead. And we are given these rules and expectations that either say you have to work harder than your peers, than your counterparts, than white women or white men to prove yourself. Or myself, I was raised to assimilate. I wasn't taught that I was different. And so how confusing was that I'm thinking I'm following the same rule book and I'm not seeing the same results. So then I have to keep working harder and harder. I recently have been spending time in building something specifically for Black men, for previous clients that I've worked with who are just extraordinary, and I thought this would make sense for them. So I've been doing some interviews, and one of the things that they have verbalized, which I find women of color do not verbalize, is that feeling of always having to be running, as if someone's chasing you. And if you stop, everything will fall apart.
Wow.
Yeah. That is the verbalized pressure that we experience, but we didn't realize, and we haven't been able to say it or pinpoint it in that same way.
Unbelievable. That is, see, it's things that we don't even think about or think to ask. Hey, what are you struggling with today? Or what are you struggling with? What's going on? How can we help? How can we shift things for you? It's about being curious and just asking questions, starting a conversation.
And the idea of asking for help can make you feel like you're weak.
Yep, for sure.
Like you're not enough.
Because we've been conditioned to believe it is weakness.
Exactly.
That's why we have to shift that narrative for sure. So in a world that keeps shouting and promoting grind harder, do more, work harder, work more, how do you help your clients give themselves radical permission to slow down and still rise?
We track progress. That's part of it. So what's really interesting is tracking the days where you're pushing and you track your productivity. Maybe it's email sent, or that's what your measurement is. And then the day where you decide to slow down and go, you know what? I can't do all of that. I'm going to give myself grace. And you've still shown up, but you've shown up with a bit more gentleness. And what we found is that you still actually sent the same amount that you did on those days where you were pushing yourself. So you've actually managed to do more on a day where you allowed kindness and spaciousness. We practice ways to understand what's happening in your body when you're feeling that way. So tuning into your survival reactions and how it manifests, what it feels like for you. Is it a headache? Is your throat closing? Or your fists tightening? Where do you feel that? How can you notice that? Notice the clues. I like to tell my clients that they can take just 10 seconds at a time to create calm within themselves, because it is true. Ideally, you want to give yourself more time, but you can take just 10 seconds at a time to create that change.
Yeah, that's a powerful reminder, because we got to keep going. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep doing. We need to remind ourselves that we are human beings, not human doings. Mm-hmm. And this to-do list bullshit. Okay, you've got a list of things you want to accomplish. A friend of mine calls it a to-da list.
I love that.
So if she's checked off one or two things, there's my to-da list. I didn't get to everything, and that's okay. And being okay with that. Knowing that you don't have to check off all the things. You don't have to tick all the boxes. It's okay to give yourself, as you said, give yourself grace. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's okay. Those things will still be there tomorrow. They're not going anywhere.
And the thing about that list is we will always add something to it.
Of course.
Even on a day off. I got to finish the whole series that I'm watching. We find ways to put pressure on ourselves to add something to that list. It's never ending, so it's not actually the list. It's all about being in survival and the negative thoughts that are happening in your head that are constantly happening. So we have to create that change, utilizing mindfulness, utilizing ways to retrain our brains so that we can show up differently.
Absolutely. And so how do we begin then to unlearn this toxic programming? Because this is another piece of it, right? Our worth gets tied to our productivity, our achievements. Oh, I've got this on the wall. I've got that on the wall. I've got this plaque. I've got this award. I've got all of these things, and perfection. So how do we unlearn that stuff?
Oh, practice, consistency. One of the things I like to look at when it comes to productivity and worth is owning your worth in a different way. So I have an exercise that I do, that I give my clients, about naming your accomplishments over the past year, maybe. But we start out with a question like, what did you learn? What is one thing you learned this past week? And I love that because we're always learning and growing, but we forget that we are.
Yeah.
So oftentimes when we talk about accomplishments, I actually put in writing is what accomplishment isn't, right? Doesn't have to be. Because even though I could write a million definitions of what they're going to look for, they still only think awards and certifications.
Yeah.
It is amazing. I did nothing since I got that award. What are you talking about? So start to view your life differently and celebrate those things. So that statement that I said to you about looking at your work and saying, am I working from a space of creativity and inspiration, or is it pressure? That question came to me when I was recovering from burnout. Meanwhile, I am teaching people not to burn out. I could have been mortified at the fact that I burned out and beat myself up. But instead, I was like, no, there's another lesson here.
Yeah.
Something is coming. Something is coming to celebrate. How do we look for that?
Yeah.
The moments where you can listen to your partner and not react and just listen.
Yeah.
That's an accomplishment.
Well, therein lies another problem is people don't know how to listen for the most part. They listen to respond instead of just listening actively, holding space, empathizing, all of these, asking questions, being curious, responding with presence, all of these things. This is part of the HEAR method that I've developed around listening. Heart-led listening. Actually listen to what people think they're such good listeners. It's so funny. It makes me laugh sometimes because listening, like really listening, is a skill set that a lot of people don't possess, but they think they do. It takes work for sure. It takes work to get there. And I love that you brought up the fact around celebration, because this is another conversation that I think we need to start having around this, is because we don't celebrate. And it ties in with the hustle culture and the doing. We are always, okay, got to get this thing done. Okay, it's done. Now I'm on to the next one. Now I'm on to the next one. No, slow down. Take the time to celebrate what you just did. No matter how small it may seem or how big it is, celebrate it. You deserve that. You did this. Take the time to celebrate it and enjoy the fruits of your labor. But we don't.
No, we don't. And being able to even get that reminder, who is your person that can help you do that? Whether you're working with a coach, a therapist, whether it's your partner, your best friend, somebody who can be there with you and remind you, because you don't always remember yourself. We just don't. And that's the part of what you were saying in the beginning. We need community. We're not meant to do this alone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think it's important to remember too that when you celebrate, you are giving a permission slip to others that it's okay to celebrate.
Yeah.
So you're not only helping yourself, you're helping others in the process of you celebrating your wins. And more often than not, people will join in and be happy for your celebration. They will help you celebrate.
Exactly. And even with that, the same applies to when you slow down.
Yep, for sure.
You're giving people permission to do the same.
Yep, 100%. Be a model, example. Set the example for people. Absolutely. So here's another piece of bullshit conditioning that I want to talk about that women have had to navigate, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm sure you'll agree with me, is women navigating the guilt that comes along with choosing themselves first. In a world that's been trained and conditioned to believe that you need to put everyone else first, and then what's left is for you. Put yourself on the back burner.
Ooh, yeah, that runs deep. So as a Latina, something that we are taught is partner first, then kids, then pets, then home, maybe extended family, probably a few other things, then you. Just like you said, what is left? That tiny scrap. And I will tell you that almost every single client has that experience of guilt. And some it's conscious, and others it's just buried there so deep they don't realize that pressure that's on them, that feeling of, if I have free time, it needs to go to everyone else. there's actually been studies that have been done to show that women spend their time worrying about their relationship, their family, and money significantly more than men ever think about those things, especially when it comes to everyone else. Now, I find that women spend more time thinking about the current reality, and men tend to be a bit more future focused, specifically when it comes to their worries. But we forget that what we want for everybody else is what we deserve and what we're worthy of.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you help women navigate that guilt when that comes up?
So we need to identify it and spend time focusing on it. And now I'm not saying live there. What I'm saying is notice it. That in particular often can be like a pleaser coming up, and that can be really subtle. Yeah. And it can come up in the moments like I'm sitting on the couch with my family and we're watching a movie and eating popcorn and the bowl is empty. Should I get up and put the bowl in the sink and rinse it out? That's those really subtle, tiny moments. We need to notice them and notice it and call it out. And if you can change your behavior in the moment, that is amazing. But sometimes calling it out is as simple as that. We need to bring awareness to it. In those moments of awareness, not only are we bringing it to the light, we're getting it away from the subconscious action and bringing it to conscious, but we're also changing the direction of what's happening in our brain.
Yeah.
Because that
rewiring.
Exactly. That guilt, that pleasing lives in the survival space. And it can be wrapped up in there with judgment and the ways that we're thinking about ourselves and the stories we're telling ourselves. So we also look to unravel what those stories are and show the fact or fiction of them.
Love it. Now, you, as we said, you help women become the main characters of their lives instead of an extra or a background actor. What does it really mean, in your opinion, to become the main character of your life? And why do so many women, I know the answer, but I want to hear you, or I know what I think the answer is, but why do so many women struggle to take that space up unapologetically?
Being the main character means remembering what you want your life to look and feel like. And I actually want to take a look out of it for a hot second. It's really about how it feels. Sometimes we don't know what we want it to look like, and we get worried that we have to change everything, and that's not it. What do you want it to feel like? You actually have the power to create change there. First, to own your worth, to realize I am amazing, I am lovable, I am loved, I am capable of so many things, and just as I give to others, I'm worthy of receiving. That's what it means. And it manifests differently for everyone. Let somebody else wash that bowl.
Yeah, put it on the end, on the side table beside the couch. Let them deal with it.
Exactly.
They're perfectly capable, the kids and the partner. Any one of them could do it.
And why are we not taking up that space? It's so deep within us to do it all, whatever that means. And each generation has added to it, shifted it, done amazing things to open our worlds for us, but yet we actually still carry a lot of the pressure and expectation of gendered roles from centuries ago, down to carrying a purse and not being able to fit everything you need in there. I wore my husband's jacket one day, and I remember it was cold and he gave it to me, a simple denim jacket. And I went, oh, you have inside pockets. You have inside pockets. I could fit my phone in here, this big phone that has to be so huge because it has a camera and that has the best camera and it's gigantic and it does not fit in my small hand. Mm-hmm. And it fits in your pocket. Nobody can see it. It's not interrupting. It doesn't bother me. And I was so excited by this. And he was laughing at me like, I don't understand. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. This is an option? This is not an option for me. This has never been an option for me. I didn't know it was possible. Those are the kind of things we've been carrying. Yeah. We've got to try to figure out 75 ways to do something that's as simple as an inside pocket for him. But I got to find the right bag, the right outfit, the right jacket. No, actually, I don't have pockets in my jackets. That's not an option. Or they're so small that a lipstick would fall out of them. So they're useless. Yeah. They're just decorative. And if they're big, they change everything. Doesn't all come back to fashion. But it's just really, it layers into how the system has created things for us to be more difficult.
For sure.
And the rules aren't the same. The roads are not paved the same way.
No.
So, of course, we can't take up space. We don't have the space. We have to be smaller in order to fit somewhere.
Shit needs to change. The roads need to be made wider. And that's it.
It's so interesting as we say this, Brad, because I actually have nightmares, recurring nightmares, about not being able to physically fit in spaces.
Wow.
Yeah. And I never brought that connection into it until today.
Very interesting. It's conversations like this that will initiate the change, because conversation is the catalyst for change. If we don't talk about it, nothing will change. So we have to, again, it ties back to having the conversations, being bold enough, being brave enough to bring it up, because people don't want to talk about certain shit because fear of being laughed at, fear of being ignored, fear of not being heard, all of the things. But when we have safe spaces and safe platforms where we can have these conversations, this is what needs to happen. We need to talk about all of these things and share our thoughts and get into group conversations about it, because that's how shit's going to change. It's the only way shit will change, and it needs to change, definitely.
Exactly.
So we need to start having more conversations around all of these things that we've touched on today so far. And so what would you say is one of the first mindset shifts someone has to make when they realize that they've been playing small for too long?
I would start by bringing them to self-love. It's one of the most difficult things for women to do.
Oh, yeah.
I had clients, actually a couple, that are engaged, and I started working with the woman first and then with her partner, and giving them self-love challenges. I wanted them to write 5 things they love about themselves to start. And he said to me, what is the ultimate goal? He said, I love me some me. What's the ultimate goal? And I said, 100. I like you to get to 100. And he's, okay, challenge accepted. And came back the next time, like, I've got my list ready. And he shared that with his partner. And he said, Jackie said that this is difficult, but I did it. And she said, I couldn't come up with 5.
That's heartbreaking.
So working on our self-love is the first mindset shift.
We are the foundation for everything. It all starts here within us. We have to do that work, but so many people don't want to do the work. They don't want to look inside because they're scared of what they'll see. We are the foundation for all of it. It all starts with us, for sure. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, that contrast, how quickly the man was able to, and I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, I think it's easier for men, but I won't say all men.
Absolutely.
I would have to say that it's probably a lot tougher for most women to find those things, those 5 things, or even 3 things, or whatever it is. But again, it all ties back to the conditioning of when women were young girls, sit there and be quiet. You are to be seen and not heard, and don't be too loud, and don't take up too much space, and all of these things. Boys have had conditioning too, and this is something that I like talking about as well, is I think men now are struggling to figure out where they fit in to the picture. And I think a lot of it ties back to the conditioning as boys, where your boys are told, don't show your emotions. You're not a girl. Stop acting like a girl. Put your big boy pants on. All of these bullshit things. Mm-hmm. Now, I personally did not have that experience because I was raised differently. I was raised by 2 women, so I didn't have to deal with that. But I know that there are a lot of men out there who grew up that way. Stop acting like a girl. Stop crying. You don't show your emotions. You don't talk about things. So it's a tough thing to navigate. And yes, this guy was able to come up with 5 like that. And good for him. That's amazing. I think that's great, and that should be celebrated. But I think we also need to look at the self-love piece and how hard it is for some people to come up with those things. And that is really heartbreaking when you think about it. When you said that and shared that this woman couldn't even think of one, that is fucking sad. Because we are all beautiful. We all have amazing gifts within us. We are all, we are all deserving of love. And we are all beautiful beings. There is always things that are beautiful about everybody. Every single person has beauty within them. But to not be able to see it, that breaks my fucking heart. That is so sad to hear.
It's so painful. And like you said, we don't want to face any of those thoughts or feelings, because what happens next?
Yeah.
There's almost this thought that will just fall apart.
For sure.
And I've had the moment where it felt like everything fell apart. But the thing is, it wasn't sustainable. That's why it didn't work. It was put back together in something better, something more beautiful, and something stronger.
Sure. Yeah, I love that. What would you say to the woman who still feels like she needs permission to lead, to rest, or as we're talking about, to take up space?
I want to ask, who's supposed to give her that permission?
It should come from her first.
Yeah, it should. But that's the question, is where does she think it's supposed to come from?
That's a very interesting question. Yeah. The only person you should need permission from is you. That's it. But again, it ties back to the conditioning.
Who's telling you that? Is that happening? Are you hearing it? If you're hearing it, that's a very different story, or a very different conversation.
Yeah.
Or is it something you're telling yourself? Whose voice is it?
It's probably not their own. It's somebody else's somewhere. Teachers, parents, whatever it is. There's somebody. It's somebody else's voice. But you don't realize it. You've adopted it as your own.
Or it became yours as a survival mechanism. But you don't need that anymore.
No.
So we should just shine some light on it. Get curious with why, not even why you need permission, but maybe that is next, but who needs to give it to you?
Yeah, love that. Thank you for reflecting that back. That's very good. What would you say are 3 traits or habits that women must embody if they want to rise and stay rooted in their power and not performance?
Slow down. That's one. I would say be mindful of whether you're saying yes because you want to say yes, or if you're saying yes when it actually means no. Owning your no, that's a big one.
Yep.
And love up on yourself. Maybe every day you can find something new to love about yourself. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be incredible. It would. Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you for that, Jackie. How do you integrate healing into leadership and ambition, especially for women who have never felt safe to pause or slow down or take the time for themselves?
We start 10 seconds at a time. I like to remind women that taking this space and doing these things differently, these are power moves, right? Working with someone, getting support, creating that change. These are things that billionaires do. Not enough people, I think, watch the show Billions. And so
I love that show.
It's amazing. I think it's the best example when you see Wendy Rhodes and what she does and how she helped these men become their best selves in work and in life. And so much of what they spoke about had to do with life.
Yep.
So realizing that is what you do to create change. That pause is actually the best power move you can do for yourself. That healing is what gets you further. And billionaires know that. And also, when we weren't permitted outside of the kitchen, these opportunities were being created. So we didn't have access to understand what was there. We can do that today. Yeah. We can create that change today. So imagine if you kept going at this pace, that was burning you out, that was having you play small, that was creating this angst within you? Is that how you want to feel 10 years from now? And if you were to stand next to little you, who had all these big dreams, is that how she deserves to live?
Whew, lots of food for thought there. Jackie, what are a couple of rituals or practices that you use to help women reconnect to their enoughness? Not just as a concept, but actually embodying it and living it.
So we've mentioned a few things. We mentioned the idea of going into your self-worth, your self-love, of owning your self-worth by celebrating. We spend time looking at what they've been through, what they've overcome, to show how different things are today, what they've already been capable of. There's proof in that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel like we need evidence, and the evidence is already there. And allowing them the space to openly share. I'm very intentional with words. They're important to me. And you notice I've probably taken longer pauses than is great for a podcast, but I need them in order to get my words in the right way. Not the right way, so I'm going to correct that. In a way that is impactful and meaningful and creates the change that we deserve. And so I like to provide spaces that are non-judgmental and pointing out, hey, I heard should, need to, have to, supposed to. You apologized when you cried. You apologized when you talked for 5 minutes straight. Even though this is your time, your session, your space.
Yeah.
There are no apologies needed. Your voice is beautiful. Your tears
Stop
are a
shitting
gift.
on yourself.
Exactly. Your tears are a gift. And they're healthy. They're releasing cortisol. So maybe those reminders.
Yeah. Love it. What systems or structures or beliefs do you think need to be burned to the fucking ground for true equity and empowerment to rise within organizations today?
I think even the time structure of how we operate. I know specifically how we operate in the States. I mentioned how we operate in Canada. I had a beautiful conversation with a colleague the other day who is from the States and has been living in Rome for a year and a half. And the lightness in her being.
It's a world of difference, right?
Yeah. The lightness in her being was incredible. The idea that she could ask someone, come have a coffee with me and sit in the middle of the day for 3 hours. And nobody thinks I'm not doing enough. I should be somewhere else. This will not work. I think that time constraint needs to be burned to the ground. The idea that if you're not head down, focused, deadline this and that, everything, you're not enough. Honestly, there's an area of certification also, I believe, certification and degrees. I strongly believe in educating yourself, and I learn every day. My husband says I devour books. I can read a new book every single week to learn and grow. But actually receiving all of those letters at the end of your name, that's a system of oppression. So we need to burn those things to the ground and instead look at spaces of belonging, look at inclusion. I feel very firmly in choosing diverse voices. So when you're even reading a book or suggesting something, can you find and look at who the author is first? What are the areas of intersectionality that this author brings that can show you a different perspective? And is there another author that could give you that look instead on the same topic?
Okay.
Those are the kind of things I want to see incorporated.
Yeah. Love it. What are some of the invisible burdens women of color carry in corporate or leadership spaces that most organizations never even acknowledge?
Lack of generational wealth is one. So it can kick us off with the college that we went to when you're looking at a resume. Having your name, surname, or first name consistently mispronounced and somebody's saying, I'm sorry, I can't. Can you just tell me how to pronounce it? And then they never get it right. Or can I call you something else? Or do you have a nickname? Or just butchering it. Somebody asking, where are you from? No, but where are you really from? So the idea that you're different, but you're not being acknowledged as different when it comes to creating equity, right? When you have all of these extra things that weigh on you, these microaggressions that happen, plus this cultural legacy of things that you're trying to create change within, that you're carrying, you might be the first in your family to do these things. And the pressure that could be, they don't realize that your paycheck could be going to support more than just you.
Yep.
That you're renting
For sure.
because there wasn't somebody who paid for your wedding, because there isn't somebody that can help with the down payment. Because if your family passes away, you might get their debt, not their wealth. And so we are constantly chasing, not to mention the fact that statistically shown the amount of money we make is less. So those aspects, plus the thought of, am I enough? And why is it, like I said earlier, that I'm working so hard and I'm not going to the same place that my colleague is, or somebody who has less experience than me? And the shame cycle that happens because of that.
Shame is a big piece of that, for sure. For sure. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So if you could redesign the corporate world from scratch, what would be some of the non-negotiable pillars of that new world?
Creating spaces of belonging, looking at diversity differently. It's not a numbers game, but I always picture the idea of having a diverse company because of diversity of thought, because of the ideas that can come and the ways that we can learn from each other so that we can create these more inclusive spaces, more equitable spaces. I want an organization that supports mental wellness.
That is huge. That is paramount.
Not just mental health, which, thank you, I'm glad for insurance, but mental wellness is another aspect of it.
For sure.
That honors our uniqueness, that changes the story of how we operate. I am certified in human design, my one certification, and I love it. And the reason that I fell in love with it is it teaches you how to master your decision making and your energy. And what it's taught me is that we designed a world that 30% of the population doesn't fit into, with time constraints and the way we work and how we assign things and how we are built to grow. When if we could work with who we're meant to be, wouldn't that be more productive?
For sure. Absolutely it would. Beautiful. So, Jackie, who were you before the world told you who you had to be to survive? And how did you find your way back to her?
That's going to bring tears to my eyes. It took me a really long time to get back to her. Trigger warning, I've been through a lot of abuse, and it started when I was 3. And I would say little Jackie had her dreams stolen from her in elementary school, had her voice stolen from her when she was 3, and had a lot of her memories suppressed because of it, just to protect her. So it took me a lot of healing. I've been on my healing journey for 23 years and still going. It'll be forever. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So it took a lot for me to figure out who she was and what she wanted. She is silly, playful, loves to dance, all about the glamour, a romantic, hopeful, giggles, believes in magic, and wants to just try and be and celebrate and love with a really big heart.
Beautiful. I'm glad you found her, and thank you for your vulnerability in sharing that. Like you said, it's the healing journey, the healing work. The healing journey is not linear, and it's never ending. We constantly have to continue to work on ourselves. So I applaud your resilience and your strength to do that, and the fact that you had the awareness to realize that you have this work to do and to be able to get back to her, I think is beautiful.
Thank you.
That she's still there and that you're starting to excavate and pull her back out again because she deserves it.
Yeah, she really does.
Absolutely. I love it. What have you had to unlearn about success, respectability, and resilience in order to lead from a place of truth and liberation?
Success can be measured much differently than what we were taught. I was a straight A student. I had to be. There was no other choice in my home. And I was polite and quiet, spoken to, look people in the eye when you meet them, smile, give hugs. We used to have to answer the phone. Hello, who is this, please? And between some of those aspects of just simply being a woman and a lot of abuse, success was keeping my mouth shut. So I had to unlearn that. I had to learn that my voice matters, that it needs to be used. It's powerful. Success is using my voice. I struggle a little with resilience, and simply because we're all resilient at this point. We have to be. We just do. It's life. How are we not? Maybe it's being tenacious. And what was the other word? I'm sorry.
Respectability.
Respectability. Wow. Those standards have changed over time. I was in a box of what I was supposed to wear, how I was supposed to do my makeup, how I was supposed to speak, where I was supposed to show up. Respectability looked like a lot of supposed to. So unlearning that and realizing that I needed to respect myself. And in order to do that, I needed to learn who that person was without all of those expectations and show up as her.
Love it. If you could whisper one message to every ambitious woman of color who's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, what would you say?
I would say, damn, that's heavy. You are not alone, and you don't have to do this alone.
That's the important piece, the not having to do it alone, for sure. As mentioned off the top, you are the founder of the She Suite Connector. So tell us about all the things She Suite Connector, the inspiration behind starting it, founding it, what it's all about, when you founded it. Tell us all the things.
So I was doing research for a program that I was putting together, a private coaching program that I was calling the She Suite. And during these conversations with about 35 different women, what I learned was how important community was for them and what they were looking for in a space. And I thought, that's interesting. And they kept saying, if you start something, let me know. Okay. And so it was not on my agenda. But what I remembered, which I found so interesting, is 2 years before I'd worked with a healer who shared with me that my life's purpose was to create a space of belonging for others. And I thought, no, it's not, because I have a core wound of not belonging. And that was the change that I was meant to make in this world. So here I have all these women telling me to create a space. And so I thought, okay. So I created the She Suite Connector, and it's what I like to call the anti-networking.
Okay.
It is a monthly virtual networking event for badass women of color and allies. And the rules are simple. No business cards, which means no titles, no corporations, no small talk. I create a space where you get to know each other, where we have topics of conversation, mindful messages every month. Like recently I did when to stop feeding the kind machine, and then breakout sessions where they can speak. They'll have questions that are given to them to talk about that go deeper than anything you would ever imagine. And then you can build relationships outside of there, things that you've already started within. I've had women tell me it is their space where they can finally exhale. You get to just show up and be you.
That's amazing. Sounds like a beautiful and incredible space, an inspiring space.
Thank you.
Kudos to you for creating it.
I am grateful for it now. Now it's my favorite time of the month. It's something free that I do, and it's invitation or referral only. And I do that to keep it a safe space. So basically, for anyone who's coming in, if anyone who's interested, send me an email. Send me a DM.
Well,
let's have a conversation.
We'll put the link to get people connected, to let the women know where they can find the space. And absolutely, we'll put all your links in the show notes when we publish your episode.
Appreciate you.
Love it. How long ago did you create the space? Now, how long has it been up and running?
Since November of 24.
Nice.
So
congratulations.
Thank you. Not even all that long ago, but it has grown immensely, and it's such a gift.
And how long are the meetings every month?
An hour.
An hour, okay. So once a month for an hour. Is it the same day every month?
Yep, first Wednesday of the month, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Perfect. Okay. What is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before you learned it? And what was your life like after you learned it?
So I've always said asking for help is a sign of strength. And I know we've nailed that today.
Yeah, we've driven that one home.
We definitely have. I would say I am worthy of my wildest dreams. And life beforehand was following someone else's rule book and sprinkling some of me in between. I've been able to create things in my life, specifically my romantic life, actually. That's probably been the most tailored part of my existence.
Okay.
And I learned that because I was in an abusive relationship and I never wanted to be in that again. But the rest of the world within me, that was harder. So once I figured out what I'm worthy of, then I could really have fun and create. Yeah.
Love it. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I'm actually just going to say my clients tell me I have a really calming way about me, an energy. So there's something there that I'm just going to celebrate. But one thing that I learned becoming an entrepreneur is that I am brilliant. And I didn't think so before. Literally, Brett, I thought I was really not that smart. But I am brilliant. And that supports me.
Own that shit. I love it. Own it. Love that. Beautiful. Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does success mean to you?
I want to love what I do. When it comes to professional success, I do. I want to love what I do. I want to feel energized by my work, not depleted. So that's professional success looks. Personal success is being able to be present, have open communication, meaningful conversations, to feel safe. And in my own personal success, it is continuing to learn, grow, self-regulate, feel safe within me, and honor my journey.
Love it. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
It is actually one of the most important words for me. It is one of the words that I use to drive me in what I want my life to feel like. I want to feel empowered. And it means being the main character of my story. I used to behave not just like the extra, but like somebody who tried out and didn't get on as an extra. Like I was that low. So I want to feel empowered every day in being a badass, being brilliant, being loving and caring and knowing my worth.
That's powerful. We're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions, just 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing, okay? How would you describe yourself in one word?
Brilliant.
What is your favorite self-care practice?
Meditation.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Dream bigger.
What's one thing you want? What's one thing you want that you cannot buy with money?
More time to connect with my husband.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Inspiring people.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
My ability to learn.
And what is one word that defines the woman you are becoming?
unstoppable.
I love it. That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. I created a bonus question that I did not send you ahead of time. If you could take one feeling or one belief, bottle it up, and give it to people, what would it be?
Worthiness.
If you could have any 3 people in the world, alive or dead, sitting at your dinner table with you for dinner, who would those 3 people be and why?
Rita Moreno, Michelle Buteau. Gosh, I wish I knew her last name. She's the star of Survival of the Thickest. I love her. She's a comedian, Afro-Latina comedian. And Madeti Fifi, who passed away. And I would have them all together because they inspire me to be more bold, to be myself authentically, to own who I am, to feel the depth of all of my emotions, and to do it unapologetically.
Beautiful. Conversation would be amazing, I'm sure.
Sassy women. It would be all sassy women.
If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
How does this work make a ripple effect?
Okay, go ahead.
It changes how you show up in the world, which changes all of your relationships. It allows you to be more present with the people that matter most. When you break that rigged algorithm of success, you allow yourself to enjoy the time with your people, the reason why you're working in the first place. You live this life with purpose, and not in the purpose of saving people or a nonprofit sort of way, but the purpose of being in it. And that's beautiful. So when you do the work on yourself, you change who you are with other people and make things better and happier and healthier.
Love it. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
My grandma. She's in her 80s. When I was little, she used to say she was 25 plus on every birthday. And I just adore her. She's somebody who I've modeled a lot of my world after, and she's taught me to be independent, loving, thoughtful, to travel. She shares the passion for city life that I have. And I want to continue to know her and to learn the stories that I haven't yet heard.
Love it. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh, little Jackie, she deserves so much more. I'd want her to know 2 things, if you allow me that. 1, it's not your fault. And 2, your body is meant to look this way, and it is beautiful just the way it is.
That's a fucking powerful statement. Wow. Thank you for that. Lastly, Jackie, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
I would say the world needs your voice, however you want to deliver it, in whatever space. To be you, to not shrink to be somebody else or what you think somebody else wants. To realize that the things that are happening in your head oftentimes aren't kind, and it's not your fault. 80% of our thoughts are negative. You have the power to change that. So take the pause, feed your brain more positive intel, and go share your brilliance.
Beautiful way to end the interview. Jackie, thank you so much. I have thoroughly enjoyed every single minute of our conversation. It has been powerful and beautiful and vulnerable and inspirational. You are an incredibly beautiful soul who is doing amazing work, and I am honored to have had the opportunity to sit down and speak with you and to have you as a member of the Empowerography community and to be able to call you a friend. You're a beautiful, bright light in this world. Keep on shining that light, and just thank you for being here today.
Brad, thank you. You're such a gift, and I'm blown away by all of the questions, the energy, and your purpose.
Thank you. I received that and appreciate that. Once again, my name is Brad Welsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Jackie Roby. She is a relationship mindset coach who empowers women of color to break free from hustle culture, reclaim their time freedom, and write their next chapter as the main character of their stories. She's also the founder of the She Suite Connector. Thanks so much, Jackie. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca. Follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.